Hi, my name is Bella Dreisler, and I've been practicing the art of physical therapy for 45 years. It's been 10 years since the demands of a busy clinical practice setting were part of my life. I have some perspective on the toll it takes to be pushed toward productivity as we do our best to alleviate human suffering. In the best of all possible worlds, we're supporting that work with self-care when we're not in the clinic, getting enough rest, eating well, drinking plenty of fluids, making time for the relationships that matter in our lives, maybe practicing mindful meditation, doing some form of exercise that gets our hearts pumping, finding ways to stay loose, long, and strong. This video is to support you in finding simple ways to incorporate loosening and lengthening right in the office. What makes it a mindful meditation as well is a continued pull of the attention back to the breath, finding creative ways to marry the breath with the motion in these brief interludes in your workday. So we'll start with a few things that you can just do in standing. You might just practice some simple overhead reaching, just reaching toward the sky, toward the ceiling, wherever you are, and just opening up the side body, marrying it to the breath. This might be an inhale and an exhale, an inhale and an exhale, maybe letting that move into some backward arm circles, inhaling and exhaling. Maybe adding some knee bends into that, just getting the body in motion. Then maybe some more standard side bends, the arms up and overhead, and just leaning to one side and breathing right there as you open the side body, rooted into the ground, reach into the sky, inhaling and exhaling, coming back to center, and then doing the other side. You can do some chest openers, just reaching behind, clasping, letting the thumbs drift down the sacrum, and then maybe drawing the shoulder blades back and down. Maybe the hands come away from the hips. Doesn't really matter. What matters is that there's sensation and opening here, and you take a full breath in, and then you let it go. Just opening the front body here. Some active twists are always a fabulous thing to do to break up your day. Maybe exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, exhaling. Just find a way to marry that breath with the motion and make it a mindful meditation. Finally, in standing, everybody can do well with closing out the world into a forward fold. I love to keep the knees generously bent, maybe even rest the forearms on the thighs to begin with, and let the head just hang. You can be here, and you can just make it a little bit more active if you want to let go, let the arms come down, and maybe exhale and inhale the knees, bending and straightening them. Adding the breath. And then coming up just one vertebrae at a time, back to standing. Another fabulous thing to work with is any convenient wall. It really feels good to get the calves stretched out. Most of us know this one, resting the forearms on the wall, either one leg at a time or two, and just finding our way into a calf stretch. Maybe that even becomes a little bit of a backward bend here by allowing the lumbar spine to release into this nice backward bend at the same time. So calves, back bend, and then maybe a little downward facing dog right here at the wall. Fingertips on the wall, stepping back and lengthening from the tail to the crown, and just feeling yourself opening the side body, stretching back. Maybe there's a little lengthening through those hamstrings if you want to walk down a little bit lower. Lots of things we can do at the wall. We might even include a supported forward fold at the wall if you're particularly tired, just leaning the hips against the wall and then allowing the elbows and forearms to rest on the thighs and just hanging out here for a while. You can be really creative with the wall, arm circles, anything while you have a little bit of support. Now, the one tool that I love to have at the office is a simple little massage ball. It can look like this, or it could just be a tennis ball, really. And let's see if you can come over to the side here, filming, because we want to be able to see You can use that ball in several places here. At the waist is a really good spot to cruise back and forth and really get some release going. At the waist feels really good, and then a little bit lower than that, deep in the hips, also a really good spot to work. This is best on the floor, but if you're in the clinical setting, that might not be working out for you. The other place is the lower shoulder blade. You can just flip it right in here and go up and down, really cruising the vertebral border of the shoulder blade. And then the upper shoulder blade, right there where levator scap comes in, oh man, that can really be very useful. And then you can use that ball also on headache gland right there at the suboccipital ridge and really work back and forth like this. The sky's the limit on your creativity with this ball. Okay, so let's just talk about some things we can do seated, because certainly for part of the day, we're seated. First off, it's simple enough to start thinking about posture as soon as we sit down. You'll notice on this chair, it's just a straight back chair, but I keep a wedge pillow here so that my knees can be a little bit lower than my hips. That gives me the opportunity to lengthen through the spine and be upright when I'm seated. We can talk a little bit also about keyboarding, because certainly, unfortunately, we're having to do some keyboarding right in the clinical setting right now. That really bothers me. Anyway, if that keyboard can be at least below the elbows and you can stay upright while you're here, that's ideal. I'm a big proponent of standing, having the computer on a counter and standing and doing my work in standing as well. So what we want to stay away from, I heard a teacher call just the other day, is Vulturasana. Vulturasana, right? This kind of hackerback, right? So upright, seated. Once you're seated though, you can take some time to do a little bit of stretching. You can just do some simple rotations of the neck, can feel so good. Some simple side bendings of the neck, also really beautiful. Half circles so that you can pause at any particular place that feels like, oh yeah, right there, so I can get some length right there. So checking out the half circles is a beautiful way to work with your neck. The breath, again, just marrying the breath to the motion makes this into a very mindful meditation. Let's see, you can also, in this shape, certainly work on some twists, both directions, and then also some beautiful forward folds right here. Coming back up. Last but not least, we can take that Pokeball, excuse me, and we could put it, we could sit right on it. If you're sitting on your sit bone, just to the outside of the sit bone and the inside of the sit bone, those deep rotators can really appreciate a little bit of release right here in the chair. So right there, and then also on the other side of the sit bone, right there, some really good places to just breathe and let go and just practice the art of self-release while you're seated. The natural follow-up to this release would be a figure 4 stretch deep to those rotators so that your ankle comes on top of the other thigh. You take a full breath in, and then on the out breath, you just lean forward and you're looking for deep sensation to the hip. It's beautiful. All right, so everyone's situation is unique. Your body, your time, your clinical setting. Let this be an invitation to explore the creative possibilities for supportive self-care right while you're at work, taking care of ourselves so we can be in service to those who need us. Thank you.